Hey everybody, welcome back to another episode of Rambling Through Everyday Life with Fran and Angela. I don't know when this episode releases, Angela. Are we in the month of May?
Yes. Yes, and the overthinker in me was trying to figure out how to talk about things I want to talk about.
Yeah.
Even though we're not, like when y'all hear this on Tuesday,
Yeah.
obviously we're not
Oh.
recording on Tuesday.
Oh, that's May 2nd, so we are
Yeah.
into May.
Now I'm thinking about Justin Timberlake. It's gonna be May. That meme is all over. Yes, it is May. It is May. April felt like 5,000 years.
Yeah, but school's over.
But it's done,
Yeah.
and now it's May.
Or college school is over.
Yes.
You poor
Cold.
high school students, I'm sorry, you have 17 more weeks left.
In middle school, we realized that Kaylee Snyder she's done with college. She goes to Montreal for 3 weeks of a Maymester, comes back, and Cole is still in
ma'am.
school.
No, ma'am. No.
That was a sad day for
Yeah.
him. But
Okay, so when this airs, it's Tuesday,
Yes.
May 2nd, but clearly we are recording before then. But Angela was also weird, and we can't talk about it because we don't have anything to talk about. But tell us what you're doing this weekend, but we still can't talk about it because you haven't done it yet.
Well, and I'm gonna add another chaotic wrinkle to what you just said and say we need to go all the way back to last Tuesday's release because some of that information needs to be updated and is already stale.
How things change, y'all.
How things change
Yes.
in a week.
Okay, so what happened? What
well.
has gone haywire?
Let's just talk about it. Well, to answer your question, Kaylee and I will be attending the Taylor Swift concert. However,
I cannot tell y'all how jealous I am.
I wish you could go.
I
Oh, my
cannot
goodness.
tell you that I'm not going to get to have this experience. Okay, carry on.
I would give a kidney to have you there with me, and I don't like medical operation
Oh.
procedure things, so that shows you how much I love you. I wish you could be there. But okay, so last week on the podcast, we talked about a lot of things that were coming up in my life, and if you know me well, you won't be surprised. We use the phrase pulling an Angela. I'm pretty sure we've used it on this podcast. We use it a lot in real life. That's kind of what happened, Fran.
Are you going to Taylor Swift this weekend?
Yes.
Are you going on the day that you thought you were going?
No.
Man alive, could you even imagine if you showed up on the wrong day for this the concert of the entire universe ever, the whole world, all of time? Could you imagine if you showed up on the wrong day?
Well, no. And I'm so glad that will not be my experience. Okay, so Kaylee's, she will be in Montreal in May. So the Nashville concert was never an option because she'll be gone. So we looked at Atlanta because the timing worked out, and two of her best friends from college live in Atlanta. They have tickets for Friday. So last week on the podcast, when I talked about the chaos of my weekend of we're going to the concert Friday night and getting up at 4 a.m. to drive all the way home for the tournament that I'm in charge of Saturday. And then Fran literally said, we will pray. I don't remember what exactly you said, but you mentioned prayer, and won't God do it?
Well, won't God do it?
I don't know what happened. Here's what I think happened. Kaylee's two friends have Friday night tickets, and somehow in all the chaos and confusion and just thank goodness we actually get to go see her in any concert anywhere, that became in our minds that we were also going Friday. And then she was a little bit sad. Nobody will feel sorry for her over this. She was a little sad because the opening act Friday is who she really wanted to see, and that's not who's the opening act on Sunday. But anybody who just wants to go see Taylor Swift will say, suck it up, who cares? We
Yeah.
have no sympathy for you.
Right.
And rightfully so. But the good news is, so I don't have to get up at 4 a.m. First of all, I would have been in Atlanta, like today we're recording on Friday. I would have been in my car going to Atlanta right now, go to a concert tonight, get up at 4 a.m., drive home, and I'm in charge of a tournament in the morning, a sporting clay tournament for FCA, and thinking right now that I actually thought I could pull that off at middle-aged life.
No, ma'am.
I don't know what, I guess I'm just really optimistic.
Everything sounds great far away. Like when it's a month out, you're like, oh my God, we can so do it. It'll be so fun. We're great. We'll just, get some, drink some caffeine and all is fine and No, it's not.
It's not. It's not.
So thank you, Lord, for
thank you,
working this
Lord.
out.
And I told my FCA board, I said, you know, because they all know me well enough to hold me accountable, I'm not good at delegating. I have control issues, as you all have heard about before. And I said, when I found out, I said, you know, I kind of feel like God was just letting me go down this rabbit trail to force me to delegate and see if I really would. And I had to.
Yeah.
I had to delegate a lot of things. And now that I'm actually here, we're all getting a really good laugh out of that. But anyway, we're going to the concert Sunday night. Stay tuned. I will update everybody.
Listen, you're posting in our stories.
Yes.
And
Yes.
so by the time people listen to this,
They will have seen it.
they will have seen it, or they'll continue to see it,
Mhm.
because I will say, keep showing all the things. I want to see all the things. I don't know. It's so fun. So you're going to be well rested for the shooting clay tournament thing.
Yeah, that's tomorrow.
And then you wake up on Sunday
Mhm.
and go to Atlanta.
and go to Atlanta, and the show is that night. And then Monday we come home. Tuesday morning early, Kaylee flies out to Montreal.
Well.
So she's been home for less than a week of a whirlwind, and then she's off again.
Listen, off to the
But,
races.
to be in college.
Oh, I love it so much.
all
This
this
is so
youthful
fun.
energy.
Taylor Swift, baby. I've created a whole new Taylor Swift playlist. Maybe I should share that in one of our
Yes.
stories. It's so fun. I love it. I will listen to songs of her. Don't ask me right now because I'm not prepared, because I'm horrible at titles. But just on repeat,
hmm
because they're so good.
You know what I listened to 4 times in a row yesterday?
What? Maybe I did too.
Bejeweled. I feel like that should be like the walk-up music when we walk in a room. We should just have a song. We should just have a song
Oh my
that just instantly makes us feel like we've
Yeah.
got a little razzle dazzle.
Listen, I'm not going to disagree with you on that at all.
We
I
should
love
have a
it.
walk-up song.
Well, at one day at baseball, we said, you and I may have talked about it, I can't remember, but we were talking about, if you could have a walk-up song, what would it be? And I was like, first of all, let's think about when that would be appropriate.
Uh-huh. One of
When
Dusty.
you walk into court.
Yes, Dusty King is an attorney friend of mine, and he used to say, if you had a walk-up song in the courtroom, what would it be? And I was like, that's a great question. We should totally start that. I don't think the judges would care for
Maybe
it.
that will be, okay, we're going to put that in stories as like a poll,
Mm-hmm.
and we'll just give you 3 options to choose from, and you decide which of those 3 songs would be your walk-up song. That'd be fun.
That would be fun. Okay, I wish I could find this video, but I saw probably on Facebook, April 1st for April Fools.
Uh-huh.
We may have talked about this, but the moms of this Little League team changed the boys' walk-up songs.
Oh, we did talk about it.
Did we talk about it?
Or maybe I did with somebody.
And one of them was like, all the pretty girls walk like
Yes,
this, and this little
yes,
8-year-old boy
yes.
is turning around backwards like, what have you done to me? Which I think it's fun. Do little kids have walk-up songs
I
at
don't
that
know.
age?
We didn't back in the day, but that didn't start till like middle school or high school, but
They're so bougie.
they are
They're so
bougie
bougie.
boys.
Well, I also have an update that's sad. So
Oh,
I know I
gosh.
hate sad updates.
I know what this is about.
but I feel like people need to know.
Do I know what this is about?
I
Does
don't
it
know.
start with the letter S?
Yes, the swans.
Y'all, I'm telling you,
And you said on the podcast last week we need to pray that everything goes well.
every year,
Mm-hmm.
I don't know how often, I feel like it's just once a year. I don't know what I'm talking about.
Well, last year we had tragedy with the eggs, but then they had a second mating season, and the babies that we have were born late in the summer.
So you can
this
have
year,
multiple mating seasons in a year?
yes.
Okay.
Now listen, I can't go too deep into this
I
because I
don't
really
want
do
to.
not know what I'm talking about, and nobody wants to hear this anyway. But I do know. Okay, so we had 4 eggs on the nest, and the mama was so sweet and sitting there so diligently when we had these horrible storms.
Are you talking about now or last year when the daddy was so awful?
Now,
Okay.
like this year.
Okay, this year.
We had really bad, like tornado level thunderstorms, and she's on that nest. Like, which I mean, my husband was like, "Well, where do you think she goes? In a storm shelter?" I said, "Well, I don't know where
Let
she
me-
goes.
Let me scoop up my eggs and go somewhere else.
And go hide." But she sat on that nest, and then we
Aw.
even had like this Saturday was on our calendar as like the swan egg hatch date. And one day last week we noticed she was not on the nest, and she gets off to like eat and swim around and then come back, but it's usually not real long. She was all day long off the nest. We were really concerned.
Mm.
So then my husband decides he will get those eggs and put them in the incubator.
Mm-hmm.
So then here comes Big Daddy Mick, who loves to fight
Mhm.
Carl because
He's awful.
he's awful. Well, he's only bad to Carl and sometimes a female swan because he thinks Carl is after his woman.
I can
So-
promise you right here and now, whatever his name is,
Mick Swagger.
Mick Swagger. I was going to say
Mhm.
Mick Jagger. Mick Swagger. I can promise you, Carl is no threat.
To
But
your
he's
marriage.
dumb as a rock. He doesn't know.
Yes. The swan, not my husband.
I know. Well,
Or
yeah.
both.
Depending on the day. of
Depending
the
on the
week.
day. Okay, so Carl goes to get these eggs, and that's when I sent you the video. I sent Fran a video because watching the two of them wrestle like could be, we could sell tickets in some counties in the world and that would be quality entertainment. But anyway, Carl got the eggs, but he realized they had a weird smell and just were not, he was like, these eggs are no good.
Oh,
Heartbreaking because these swans, I don't, for those of y'all who have listened for years, like there's this whole swan saga that's gone on.
it's never good.
They're expensive and they're hard to raise, and they finally went from 2 swans to 5 swans, and then anyway, so that happened. Well, then the next morning, Carl told me he found Sapphire, the female, in the water, and she had died. I haven't even told you that yet. So
Angela Snyder.
we don't know what happened to her. There are no visible signs of foul play. There are.
What?
We don't know what's happened. So maybe she was sick and she knew she was sick and she got off the nest. Like, we do not know what happened.
What does Carl do? She's out in the middle of the water?
Floating in the water, and he is the bird man. He loves his bird babies. We have baby turkeys and chickens in my house until they're big enough to go out in the pen. I mean, he dotes over them, and he was heartbroken. We all were.
Speechless.
Yeah.
Does he go get her?
He went and got her and had a swan funeral and did the whole thing. But we do not know what happened. And swans mate for life, so you know.
So
Sapphire,
what good is Mick Jagger Swagger?
Well, Mick Jagger Swagger, you know, originally was married to Eden, and then
Oh,
a fox
yeah.
got her,
Mhm.
and then Sapphire came
See,
along.
I'm telling y'all, this never goes well.
I know, and then forced arranged marriages are difficult at best. So he tried to hold her down and break her neck because it wasn't his real woman, and then they finally fell in love, and then they were going to have some babies, and then you look at it like, okay, we've got Reba. Y'all remember Reba? We named her through the podcast. I'm a survivor. She's the one we had to do the surgery on.
Right.
But then I'm thinking, do you want the dad and the daughter?
Nope. No,
I don't
we
know what happens next.
No, we
I
don't.
don't know what happens next. I don't know if it's either going to be Reba with her daddy or her brother if there's babies.
This
So
is awful.
it's just a whole.
Has Mick Jagger Swagger been upset? I don't know
Well-
what that means, but has his behavior changed?
He has. It's hard to say because there's 4 of them and there's just a lot of moving parts.
Mhm.
Like
Can you tell them apart?
Carl can. I struggle a little bit.
They all look the same to
When
me.
you pull up on that ranger, like Mick's the one that marches up the hill to go after Carl, so there's no doubt who he is.
Wonder what his walk-up
Uh-huh.
song is.
Oh, bad to the bone, maybe something that makes you want to fight somebody. He has a fight song for
This
sure.
is so awful, Angela.
It
I cannot
is.
believe it.
I hadn't even had a chance to tell you that.
Okay, well,
So-
there's that, people. Welcome
so-
to the show.
I know.
Welcome to the happy show. We try to be uplifting and encouraging around here.
We do have very, very cute baby turkeys.
Yes, that's precious.
I need to put them in storage.
Yeah, we need to see a photo of them.
And Carl built them a pen house. I mean,
Listen.
they have got the most bougie outdoor pen that I've ever seen in my life.
I love it.
Mm-hmm.
They're going to live forever and ever, aren't they?
He
Don't tell us otherwise.
he gets them out of this little bucket and like holds them on his chest and whistles, and then they whistle back, and it's like the mom and the baby talking back and forth. And he said the more you coddle them, they'll like follow you around like a puppy.
Well, yeah.
So
I would not be a good farm person because I would be so obsessed with them all and be so attached to every single animal forever and ever.
Well, I grew up in the city, so all of this is still very new to me. My husband has raised baby possums. He had a baby skunk in a
No.
shoebox one
well, that's
time.
dumb.
Baby raccoons, like you name the animal, he has raised or attempted to raise or rescue whatever it is at some point or another.
That's so great.
Never a dull moment in the Snyder household.
Go Carl.
Let me just say that.
Go Carl. I love it and appreciate it so much.
Well, I don't want to go off the sad deep end.
So let's just stay on this sad train.
We're gonna say, well, this is bittersweet. It's happy and celebratory, but also sad. Your baby boy is winding up his baseball season, and you have been a baseball mom of these boys for many, many years.
Yeah, I've watched Dylan play. Dylan's 22. He was able to play in college here at Union, and he's a pitcher. And, he started playing. I asked him the other day, I said, were you 5 or so when you started playing? He said, yes.
Oh.
So he's 22. I mean, I've watched him play for 17 years, and that's just one kid. The other boys have their other sports involvement that we've also spent who knows how much time of our lives watching them. But there's something about that third child, I think you said it, Angela, just the end of the Thomas Sports era of all of these kids. I had never thought about it. We've done this for so long with all these kids, and yeah, it's finished. And, I've said 1,000 times, seasons come and go. You never know how long a season's going to last. And they're going to come to an end. And of course we knew this was coming to an end, but oh my goodness gracious, there's something to be said about sports and you and I have talked about this, and any parent that has ever spent any length of time with their child through sports, you understand that it's so much more than a game. Mm-hmm. The Lord is so fun and kind to give us a game, this avenue to develop and strengthen skills from an athletic standpoint. But I think what the greatest gift of it all is this concept of team and coaching and leadership and accountability and all that comes with that, the good and the bad. That is just the greatest gift of all. And you get to learn all those things through this crazy little game called baseball. And so anyway, it is OVER, and there's that.
Wow. How do you feel? I don't want to.
Oh, it's sad. Mm-hmm. It's for sure sad. So we're going to stop talking about it.
Well, okay.
Because it could put a lump in my throat really quick.
2 things. I want us to experience a baby Dylan picture and stories in his little baseball hat.
Because I'm pretty sure that there's a picture of him where I'm just I think you were in a pull-up. Oh. And because I can tell he's holding one of those small Gatorades, not a full-size Gatorade, but he's holding a small Gatorade sitting in a dugout. And his hand, you can always gauge how the size of something by, when their little baby hand is holding it. His little baby hand, it looks like it's just going all the way, or it's just this fat, chubby hand holding this little Gatorade, and you're like, I'm pretty sure you're probably not 100% potty trained, but by golly, we had you out there in a uniform and playing and just living your best life. And it's just so precious. It's so precious. And even, it's bittersweet for him too, because it's all he's ever known. Mm-hmm. I mean, his whole community throughout life has been made up through a baseball team. He did not play football like his brother did. So it's always been baseball, always. And so there will be this, this a little bit of identity struggle, and who am I and who are my people? Anybody that graduates from college always has a very hard time transitioning into post-college, because they just don't know who they are, and they're trying to find their people, and everything feels upside down and weird. And but it's like a double, that's just all a loss. It's just all rah.
Well, how do we, if you know somebody in that situation, or like with him, how do we come alongside and support those people? And it's also just people who graduate college, but I'm sure especially in the athletic world, when that is your whole identity, and you're at workouts together and you're at games and practices, and then Like, what happens next? How do we help those people survive that? Or is there anything you can do?
I don't know. I tell seniors all the time that, and I tell anybody that will listen, and it's not a ton of people, because a lot of people don't realize how hard that transition is after something ends. Even high school, but especially college, that, you're just so thankful that it happened. You're so thankful for it. And it's okay to be sad. It's okay to struggle over the summer and in the fall as you try to figure out who you are and who are your people and what does life look like now. It's okay. It's okay to be sad. It just, everything. Yes, it's exciting, a new season, but it's okay to, feel anxious for the unknown and to grieve what is lost. Like, it's okay. It doesn't always have to be, yay, that was so awesome. I mean, there's moments of that, but Dylan's going to also have moments of, oh my God, this is just horrible. I'm going to try to tell this story. This is so cheesy, y'all. This is so cheesy.
We are here for the cheese. Bring it on, friends.
On senior day, I could literally, okay, no, we're not going to cry. He got this jar. That he's supposed to go to the mound and get dirt from the mound that he's pitched on.
Oh, wow.
For all these years, and it's got his number on it, and stuff like that. I'm like, you're gonna get. I told him, I said, I've got the dirt jar still in my purse, but next week you're gonna have to go out there, and I want him. He will.
Oh, he hasn't done it yet.
He hasn't done it yet. He hasn't done it just because of a variety of things, and so he's gonna go out there by himself.
Oh, goodness.
Doesn't that just sound horribly painful?
Yeah.
And just scoop up some dirt from that mound and put it in that dang jar.
Now, see, that makes me want to sneak over there and play some crazy walk-up song to make him laugh and not be sad.
For real. Anyway, that's part of seasons, whether you're transitioning into a new job or whatever. I mean, there's excitement and there's sadness, but there's also just fear of the unknown and all of that, but it's a wonderful thing. It's a wonderful thing. Okay, let's change the subject.
Well, and as we transition, I just want to say there's so much power in what you said about knowing, hey, it's just going to be hard and we're just stuck in this middle, and the transition, we can't blow past that.
Right. Be sensitive. Just even if you don't say anything, just be aware of people when they're going through a transition, that, you know what, there could be some sadness along with that excitement, but there's also some uncertainty and anxiety, and just say, hey, how are you feeling? How are you? I know this is a lot.
That's never a bad question to ask.
No.
Okay, speaking of questions to ask,
Lord have mercy.
You know we like to ask good questions.
Yeah, we do.
I'm going to transition this and get Fran into something distracting.
Good night alive, y'all. It's still because it's all so fresh. If we were talking about this in a month, I wouldn't cry.
But it wouldn't hit the same.
No, yeah.
Thank you for being real, Fran. Keeping it real. Okay, so you won't be surprised by this because I've told you this before. Here's another confession.
Catholic Angela.
I always confess my
priest Fran.
And it's not something I did it's not something like that I've sinned. I did do it poorly. I just stink at interviews in the workplace setting. Okay.
Do I know this story? I don't know. I do.
I don't know, but I will tell y'all.
I'm already laughing. This is so
I will tell
great.
y'all, and I mean, Charles Bird and I laugh about it. In the past, we're like, I don't know which one of us needs to be doing job interviews. We just get lucky and wind up with great people, because sometimes we're just like, we're not good at this. It's hard to know.
It is.
But, and I think the flaw with Charles and I is we're so personable by nature that we can just.
You were about to say we're so perfect.
We're so no, that will never come out of my mouth. We're so personable, imperfectly personable. We can get in a job interview and it turns into just like a rambling podcast episode. Like, it
I
could
could
sound
also
like this.
picture y'all, the meme where don't put us together when we try to need to be serious because we're
Yes.
crying, laughing, and it's so inappropriate. And we're trying to be professional and act like grown-ups, but we're not successful right now.
Charles and I could be in the middle of a serious setting, and then we need to tell each other real quick about our last Disney vacation. Like, it's just, you just don't know what's going to come out. And like I said, I love where we work. I love who we work with. We have just, like, the Lord has grace for all these things. But I'm always, you and I talk about wanting to learn and grow and be better leaders and all the things. Well, anytime I see an article that's like, here's a great question to ask in a job interview.
Oh man, I'm all about those. I can't tell you how
Oh.
many of those I've saved and probably never used, but
Yes.
there's some good stuff out there on the web.
Because I think I want to be better at this.
Yeah.
I'm inquisitive. I'm good at
Yeah.
asking questions.
Uh-huh.
I'm just not like that's anyway.
Mhm.
So I saw this article, and this man, his name was Chris Williams, and he was a VP of HR at Microsoft.
Okay.
So this man knows what he's doing.
Yep.
He's also a podcaster and a TikTok creator.
Oh wow.
So let's give it up for Chris Williams and
Yeah.
his middle age for getting on the TikTok.
Yeah.
But he said that he always asks job candidates the same question, and it's a simple question, and it's a very revealing question. And he said it just lets you know immediately. So I was like, okay, well, let's hear it. What's his question? And when I saw the question, I thought this would be good to talk about on the podcast, because this is something that you may be listening going, I'm never going to interview a candidate for a job ever. But sometimes it's hard to just make small talk or get to know somebody. And the more I've thought about this question, I'm like, this is something that all of us need in our back pocket, because we've all been in those situations where there's a lull in the conversation, but you don't want there to be. And then if it, like, I just get more awkward. So I always try to have something that I can say to fill in the gap. So, are you ready for it?
Are you ready for it?
There's our
Taylor
there's our
Swift.
walk-up song. So, okay, here's what he says.
Oh, there's so many things I want to say right now, but I'm gonna hold back. What if you went through your whole day, like every time you made a transition in your day, there was a walk-up song that occurred?
Your day would become a musical.
Your day would be a musical, and it would be so much fun.
Oh my goodness, we could go through all the seasons of the emotions of the day.
Man, all through music.
I'm going to start voxering you now going, hey, guess what my song is right
I mean,
now?
I'm walking out of court, and my song is this. After lunch, my song is this.
I need to go home and cook supper, but I
My
just want
song
to
is-
eat cereal instead. My song is this.
I'm telling you, now that that's floating around in my brain, I'm going to be kind of thinking about this. Okay, let's get back to this article.
Well, hang on. Let's chase one more rabbit trail. KK made me a birthday cupcake surprise. Listen, we've got to have her talk about baking cupcakes. She catered the Lambda Chi event at my barn last night, and bless her sweet soul, that woman, my favorite, like, warm fuzzy childhood memory is my mother would make a yellow cake with chocolate icing. It probably cost $3 total. We did not have a whole lot of extra money, and that's what I wanted. Like, if you put anything on the table at any
Yeah.
dollar amount, that's what I want.
Right.
I did not get that. KK showed up. I sent her a picture of me eating one for breakfast this morning and said, breakfast of champions.
Yes, ma'am.
With me shoving a cupcake in my mouth.
Cooking with KK. This is so great.
That woman's insanely talented. KK, we love you.
Yes.
Okay, so let's get back to the question. Here we go. This is the question that he always asks. He always asks candidates to tell him something you've learned recently. Open-ended, just, hey, what's something
Yeah.
you've learned recently?
Yeah.
So we're always, you and I talk all the time about being humble and being teachable. And he said that sounds so simple, but a quality candidate will have a ready answer that reveals their passion.
Yeah.
So if I say,
Because there's not a wrong answer.
there's no wrong answer. So if I
Yeah.
say, Fran, what have you learned recently? It could literally be, I mean, it could be anything. It could be something that I've learned at home. It could be something I've learned at work. It could be something I've learned, I mean, any context, anywhere. And he said when people get stuck, give them a little bit of grace at the beginning. You could ask them some, prompting type category questions. But he said if they just really get stuck and cannot name anything after a few minutes, if they flounder, that's a red flag. But he said this really can set the tone and lead to a great conversation. He said maybe they've learned how to format something in Excel.
Yeah.
If you can format Excel, please
Yeah,
help me.
I know.
I feel so
Listen.
dumb with Excel.
Yeah.
Or maybe I've taught a child how to ride a bicycle, learned how to cook, picked up a new sport. All I hear about lately is pickleball. We're going to have to, Lee Gray, if you're listening, we have to learn pickleball someday. And he said the passion for details combines with adrenaline about, just the excitement of whatever you're doing.
Yeah.
And their fascination with whatever it is. So
That's good.
and then he said this, he said the thing that they are learning is not crucial. What you want to see is what they learned and how they learned it.
Right. That's good.
Yeah, he said if they're really a passionate learner in life that carries over into the workplace, they will have studied their subject to understand every single thing they could. Search and watch videos. You can learn how to do anything on YouTube or TikTok.
Yeah. Listen.
Anything.
I love that. That's so good. That's
So,
such a great question.
Anyway, and then he said I pay really close attention to how they explain it because a good communicator knows how to frame their passion for
That's
it.
right.
They'll make it easy to share what they've learned, and they will be enthusiastic.
That's good. That's good stuff. I love
thought
it.
that was so good. So anyway,
Yeah. Bravo.
isn't that fun?
That is fun.
Can you think of any other questions we need to know to ask?
This is a Ted Cluck question.
Oh, we love a Ted Cluck
And we may
question.
have talked about this before, and if we have, you've probably forgotten it, and it's worth repeating. I've seen him do this with college students, and I have been in the process of interviewing students to work in our office next year as student ambassadors or student enrollment counselors. And I end on this question, which I will explain why this is important, because it is along the lines of, I think communication is a skill that needs to be developed, and it really needs to start being developed in these college years, because nowadays it's too easy to do more communication with your phone and through text messaging. And so just the art of going back and forth with people that you may not know and with the subject matter that you may not be super familiar with is just as important. And so Cluck does this so well, and I've watched him do this through Leadership Union Student Edition. And so he'll go around the room and he is asking 3 questions. They only answer 1, okay? So he's asking the questions, tell me what you're listening to, tell me what you're watching, and tell me what you're reading.
Oh.
And so I don't know, Angela, answer the question. Tell me, what are you listening? We're going to play this out in real life. So tell me, what are you listening to? What are you watching? And listening to could be musically or it could be a podcast. What are you listening to? What are you watching? What are you reading?
Okay, listening to.
Only answering 1.
Oh.
I only answer 1. Pick 1.
Well, let me say. Okay, let me not do that then, because everybody knows
Well, you're
we're
not
listening
following
to
the
Taylor Swift.
rules correctly.
Raise your hand if you're surprised. I am watching, and I haven't watched this in a long time, American Idol.
Okay. So that's your. So
that's my answer.
So you would answer that, and so. Let me preface this exercise by saying what ultimately you're wanting to happen in this exchange. It could be to gain some knowledge and some information about that person, but the heart behind this exercise is for people to see the importance of, I hear what you're saying. I value you as a human being, and whatever it is that interests you, I see you.
That's good.
That's good. And so you've answered the question by saying, I'm watching American Idol right now. And we could put a period there and just go, oh, that's awesome. And just put a period there. But it's better to keep that dialogue going. And so I could say something like, oh, that's so great. I've never really watched American Idol. Why do you love it so much, Angela? Well, we're not going to keep doing this back and forth.
Well, I was
But you
honestly hoping you would ask me that.
Then answer the question.
Because I wanted to tell you why I like American Idol
then
again.
Tell me why. I'm watching it too, by the way.
Are you? Okay, then you know
Love
this. This is the most insanely talented group.
Yes.
But their stories.
I know.
And they're just all so different, and some of them are so young.
Mm-hmm.
One of them reminds me of Haley Ramsey.
Yeah.
Haley, if you're listening,
Yeah.
you have a doppelganger out there, and she can
Yeah.
sing.
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure she's from Tennessee, but yeah, just when you asked me that, the whatever in me was like, oh, I want to tell you why.
That's right. That's right. So it kind of ties into what he's saying, like it's something of interest to you.
Mm-hmm.
And so, yes, the kind of like icing on the cake would be maybe I get to learn something about whatever it is that you're interested in and excites you. But really, ultimately, we want the heart behind it to be, you know what, if that's important to you, it's important to me because I care about you. I see you. I hear you. I value you as a human being. Even if, let's say you said something that I think is horrible and I completely disagree with, I'm not going to respond that way. I'm going to learn. I'm going to ask you a follow-up question. Like, tell me what it is that you love about that book, that show, that podcast, whatever it is that you share. I want to just better know you. But I'm ultimately wanting to see you, hear you, and value you as a person. And so in the context of the work that I do here at Union, that's important that we do that with one another, that we understand we're not just small talking for the sake of small talking. We want people to be seen.
Oh, that's good. And I'm thinking about my teenage son, and when he loves music, that's how we connect. And if I would just take the time to say, on the one hand, I say things like, it's hard to make him talk and have conversation.
Mm-hmm.
Boys just don't talk as much as we often wish they would. But if I said, tell me more, or why do you like this, or what do you like about this song, he would talk for hours.
Oh, for sure. And you don't even have to understand what it is he's saying.
No.
But he feels heard.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that is just it's a soul connection that people just yearn for, because especially in today's world where it's hard, it's getting harder and harder to open up your heart because you're afraid that somebody may not understand or agree with you, and you're going to be attacked maybe, or feel like you've got to be on the defense. And we just have to go back to just basic humanity, in that people want to be seen and heard. And you know what? If you don't have a stinking clue what Cole Snyder says to the answer to your question, that's fine, because you can put a period there and say, that's awesome. I'm so glad that you love that right now.
Mm-hmm. And if I just said, tell me more, then he would feel like we connected.
That's right.
And I would too.
That's right.
I love that that's a Ted Cluck. I don't want to take that away from him by what I'm about to say, but we do something similar based on Lisa TerKeurst's podcast. I heard her, that Therapy and Theology podcast that's so good. Mm-hmm. Her therapist talked one week about HUB, H-U-B. I think we probably talked about it on the podcast here. But it's, I hear you, I understand, I believe in you.
That's right. Same concept.
Yes, same exact thing, and that's just simple. And with the volleyball team this year, we would get into our Wednesday night Bible study, and I realized they needed to connect. And I just heard that, so we put them in very intentional groups of 3. We tried to make it, freshman, sophomore, junior, split it up, people you're not normally with. And we would say, get in these groups for 20 minutes and hub each other.
Oh.
Say whatever's going on, and then the other 2 people look you in the face and say, I hear you, I understand, I believe in you. Listen, that was a game changer.
Let me tell you something, Angela, and those are the kinds of things that you cannot do a one and done.
Right.
It has to be a part of your culture. It has to be a part of who you are and what you do as a human being, as a team, as a body, as a group, as a whatever your context is, because otherwise it can feel awkward. But if you do that over and over and over again, then man alive, what trust and respect and love is established in those conversations.
And I have to brag on these girls. I do that all the time, but y'all indulge me anyway. It was clunky and awkward at first. It always is. But by the end of the semester, I mean, they're just like, hey, can we get in our hub groups? And we always try to do that. Well, one Wednesday we had a recruit on campus. And after she sat there and experienced what we do now, I mean, now it's just natural.
Yeah.
They have done this for months, and they are close, and they know all the, not all, but they know a lot of deep, hard, junky stuff that they're all going through. And that, when we were done, she pulled me aside, gave me the biggest hug, and said, I've never been a part of anything like this. I've seen a lot of great volleyball programs, but I struggle with being vulnerable. I need this in my life. And before the next morning, she had committed to come here.
Mm.
And I cannot wait to get her on this campus.
I'm telling you, there's so many lessons. I'm kind of glad we're ending on all this because this is just really good reminders for the importance of people, whether you're talking about in your family or your job or, you know, teams or organizations, community, whatever that looks like for you. You can get wrapped up in just getting things done.
Yeah.
And you need to. You know, I need you to go get the things done so that you can represent your clients well in the classroom. That's what I'm used to saying, in the courtroom. I need you to do that. But I also need you to get a little bit deeper with them and let them experience and see you as attorney-client, but also the people that you're working with day in and day out, that there's more to Angela than just, oh my God, we've got 1,000 things to get done today. Like, she truly cares about her people. And I don't know, it's real important to me. And I think if we're not careful, it won't happen. It's not just going to naturally happen. We have to make it happen.
That's so important because that's true. If you have to fight for it, if you're not actively pursuing it, it just will not happen.
Yeah.
But we've seen the beauty of it.
Yeah, it's so sweet.
I don't have patience for anything else. I'm at a point where I'm like, if you want to be in my life, I
Right.
welcome you in, but you better be real.
Right.
If you want to be fake and on the surface, I just
Right.
don't.
Right.
I mean, we can just smile and wave at each other, but
Right.
you're going to come on in, you got to be ready to put your feet up on the
That's
furniture.
right. That's right.
Yeah.
Okay, this was good. So we went sad, but then we also went happy and encouraging.
It's real life.
It's real life with Fran and Angela. That's the name of the new show, but it's not. Okay, well, we're winding down podcast season, y'all.
Yeah.
Because y'all know we take a break in the summer. We've got some fun things that are a little different coming up for the summer. Not a ton of stuff, but just a way to stay connected. But this is always fun, y'all. We're almost to the end of the school year. Hang in there, right? Keep going.
Stay tuned for concert updates, and we've got some fun stuff to talk about next week.
We sure do. All right, everybody. We love you guys so much. Thanks for listening to another episode of Rambling Through Everyday Life with Fran and Angela. Y'all have a great day. Bye-bye.